Hello everybody, Cindy Grimley here, Editor-in-Chief at LawMarketing.com, and today we're talking with Tanner Jones about content marketing for bankruptcy attorneys. Now if you don't know Tanner, he's the Marketing Director at ConsultWebs.com, and at ConsultWebs they have 3 licensed attorney writers on staff that produce content for law firm websites on a regular basis. So Tanner, welcome to our session here today.
Thank you. Glad to be here, Cindy.
Great. All right, so let's talk about content marketing plans for bankruptcy attorneys. Content marketing, as you and I both know, is a bit of a challenging area for many of our attorneys. Not something they learned in law school, but yet an area that they need to implement into their law firm marketing plans. And so give us some tips on what bankruptcy attorneys primarily can do to implement this structure into their marketing.
Sure. Yeah, and I think this is one area. You know, there's no shortage of developing general content around bankruptcy. I think likely most of the bankruptcy firms watching this video have a homepage, a firm profile, attorney bios, and then those what we consider high-level bankruptcy pages. So, you know, a general bankruptcy page of content, Chapter 7, Chapter 13, foreclosure defense, and some of these other general practice areas. And that's important. You definitely want to have those. But a lot of times, bankruptcy firms will stall out on content once they've supported their site with these general pages. So I really want to talk about how can you flesh out more content beyond those general pages. We like to refer to on-site content being developed in 2 different categories: static content and blog content. Static content is the practice area content, FAQs, or more long-term pages of content. Blog content can be more timely articles or narrowly focused content. To develop good quality static content, you want to make sure that it's resourceful, that it's something that's valuable to that prospective client. And so long as you're developing something that's of value, it's a good quality page of content. But thinking about how can I develop more what we would consider sub-practice area content, think about those prospective clients. You know, developing content around credit counseling, for example, people who are in the research phase of filing bankruptcy. They have tons of questions that they're asking, and they're actually researching that in Google. They're asking these questions. Or maybe emotional effects of bankruptcy. You know, what are these individuals going through on an emotional side? And if you're writing about that, then you're going to relate to these individuals and build and establish these relationships enough to where they feel comfortable to pick up the phone and call you. Or maybe even developing content around your specific market. So not just a general page of bankruptcy, but bankruptcy in Ohio, because there's certainly search volume around that area. And then once you've thought through that process, you've planned out content, and you're running out of ideas from there, consider going to your competitor websites. Look through their content, find out what they're doing that you're not currently doing, and implement that, but do it better. You know, think of ways that you know, where maybe they're missing certain elements. And make sure that you're pulling out what they're doing well and implement that on your site. And there's no shortage, again, of content out there that you can review and then basically customize, develop new content for your site.
Right. That's a great tip, Tanner. We haven't shared that kind of sneakiness before in our videos around getting around the content. But I agree with what you're saying, because there is no shortage of content online. And I think to add to that, too, is that, you know, people are researching online because they're unsure, they're feeling insecure about some of these topics, they don't really want to go and speak to someone right away. So if you offer some of that information, and as far as, you know, some of the emotional sides of it that you just shared, you know, so key to really grabbing their attention and making them feel comfortable with you from the start. So great. So anything else that you wanted to share there as far as content marketing for bankruptcy attorneys?
You know, just referring to the blog side, that's another area where often, you know, firms will have a goal of keeping their blog updated at least once a week, and they often fall short of that because maybe they run out of ideas, or maybe they simply just don't have time. But one way that we often recommend is create a Google Doc, an Excel file in Google Docs where you can share it among your team members, your staff, and your attorneys in your firm. And as you have clients and prospective clients come in the office and they ask these commonly asked questions, jot down that question in that Excel document. And so when you are running short of ideas or having writer's block, you can reference that Excel document, pull out a good topic, and write from there. So that's just going to allow you to keep that blog active and in turn continue driving good quality traffic into your website.
And I love that tip too, because so many people in the law firm outside of the main attorney are going to be speaking with people or answering questions or filtering,
Exactly.
emails and so on that can add to that list. So great point there. So, well,
Sure.
Tanner, great information once again. Thank you again for joining me and providing information specifically for these bankruptcy attorneys. I know people can find you at consultwebs.com, and also on Twitter. I know they can find you at, I believe, TannerJones_CW.
That's right.
Right. All right. Thanks so much, Tanner. We'll talk to you
Thank you,
again.
Cindy.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.